as we sit here today, this Parliament, there's a very important event that's underway on the Copper Coast, that being the Kernewek Lowender. It's the 50th anniversary. It first arrived in 1973, and also this year it's 100 years since the mine shut in 1923. So a rather significant event in what was one of the most profitable mines in the world, and the impetus behind which the Copper Coast region was built. The mines themselves operated at Moonta and Kadina for 60 years, between 1862 and 1923, with the Moonta colony swelling to become the largest settlement outside Adelaide by 1880. And some 12,000 miners and supporting tradies and engineers and their families, predominantly all from Cornwall. They're all living there in a fledgling district of new schools, churches, pubs, homes, shops, engine and boiling houses, chimneys and associated infrastructure, the remnants of which, Mr Speaker, are still proudly standing today. Thankfully, though, when those mines did shut in 1923, a century ago, not all of the 2,000-strong workforce, who lost their jobs when the mines were forced to close, and many families elected to stay in the towns of Kadina, Moonta and Wallaroo to forge a new industry era supported by agriculture and services. Thankfully, too, in the years since, locals and historians, and especially the National Trust volunteers, have continued to recognise the historic significance of the Copper Coast's Cornish heritage and have worked hard to preserve its proud history. The first festival arrived in 1973 and has done much in the last 50 years to celebrate and forge in memory the local Cornish legacy, but so too has there been much work done behind the scenes in the last 20 or so years to progress the Moonta mine site for World Heritage recognition. With great jubilation, the Moonta and Burra mining site precincts were nationally heritage listed by the federal government in May of 2017, a fitting formal recognition for the sites as places of outstanding heritage value to the nation. And pleasingly, this year, March 2023, the Moonta mines and Burra sites received World Heritage tentative listing, which formally endorses the sites as one of outstanding universal value as exceptional evidence of Australia's Cornish mining heritage. A truly exciting development, Mr Speaker. The sites are considered preeminent examples in the world of the transfer of Cornish culture to another country, and it is this recognition that will be a factor that progresses the sites to collective World Heritage listing and bring with it, hopefully for our region, significant tourism and economic benefits to both the Copper Coast region, to the Yorke Peninsula, and we'd like to thank to the state as a whole. Commendably, much of the work that has been undertaken over many years to get to this point, predominantly by the National Trust, the Australian National University, the Cornish Association of SA Mining History Group, the State Heritage Unit, Copper Coast Council and some other stakeholders. And I especially note the ongoing advocacy and conservation work by the Copper Coast Council and the Moonta National Trust branch volunteers that has resulted in significant grant funding coming their way. And I can report that last year and this year conservation works at the mine site have been ongoing, including at engine houses with roofs replaced, guttering and drainage improved, the installation of interpretive works and nighttime illuminations, the development of viewing areas and much stone and brickwork repaired, repointed and replaced. There is much to do, but in the near future, Moonta Mines and the region as a whole will deservedly be reopened as a major heritage tourism destination. The future looks very bright. As we get to the Cornish Festival itself, with the furry dancing and maypole again this weekend, I take this opportunity to congratulate the hard-working committee, led by Lynn Sperling, who's in our 5th festival, 10 years of service, Mr Speaker, truly commendable commitment, and invite all to join the celebratory 50-year milestone of this iconic biennial event that began in 1973. I'd like to also commend all the sponsors this year and in past years, the local community groups, businesses and volunteers, the latter being in the hundreds, who all help to put on events or make or sell wares to guide traffic or park cars. We've got a display in the window of my office of some of the news coverage of past festivals. The first one featuring the Premier Don Dunstan, a big supporter who I believe chipped in $1,500 to kickstart the fundraising for the first event, and all the other premiers that have attended over the years, including Kadina-born John Olsen, who served as festival president for many years. They're all on display in our window, as I said, and there's some quite startling sights to see in some of those old newspaper publications. This week's festivities again include the major traditional events which have been going on since '73, the maypole and furry dancing, pasty making, which I'll be aiming to not cut my finger off this time for the first time, the Great Art Prize, the cavalcade of cars, the locally brewed swanky, which is very effective for those that like to drink for the effect rather than the experience, the gathering of the bars, the dressing of the graves, the village fair and all others. So congratulations to all that have put on the wonderful event again this year. May it be a wonderful, successful one and run for many years to come.
Member for Hammond.
I rise today to talk about the recommissioning of Thomas Foods, or the commissioning of the new plant after 5 years and